Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
The FBI has foiled about 17 plots to kill Americans during the past 10 years. What it will not tell you is that there have been 20 foiled plots, and of them, 3 were interrupted by members of the public. The 17 that were interrupted by the feds were created by the feds.
I think Judge Napolitano said it best when he said many of the terrorist actions stopped by the feds have been created by the feds, or something to that effect. And now we have this article from Kurt Nimmo today. FBI fabricates ISIS terror case from scratch. And the case of Harlem Suarez, age 23, of Key West, reveals a purported threat of ISIS and a supposed cadre of lone wolves inspired by social media is not only dramatically overblown, but largely created by the government. On Tuesday, federal officials said Suarez was arrested for planning to set off a backpack bomb at a beach in Florida where he was inspired by ISIS. The entire case was manufactured by the FBI. The agency gave Suarez a dummy bomb after he made remarks on Facebook about ISIS. A source cooperating with the FBI was then sent to help Suarez make a video urging Muslim brothers to buy AKs, knives, and machetes and fight, according to NBC News. So if you think that this is just some overblown deal that the government never does these things, and that of course there are many good men and women in the FBI, the CIA, any other alphabet agency who have nothing to do with these things, but whether it's having these guys build bombs or bringing cocaine into the country with the CIA, these things do happen. So we have to be aware of them and pretty much call them out when these things happen. And for more on this, we have a throwback report from the Vault detailing why are so many people in these false flag operations connected to the government? Why are they government informants? How does this happen and continue to happen in the United States of America? An often overlooked link that ties many domestic terror suspects together is their relationship with federal authorities. Case in point, the recent shooter in Kansas. It's been reported that Fraser Glenn Cross, originally Fraser Glenn Miller, became a federal flunky to reduce his jail time for KKK activities years ago. Upon his release from jail, reports claim Cross became a paid informant until the shootings in Overland Park, Kansas, where he targeted the Jewish community. From shootings to bombings, lawyers for alleged Boston bomber Dzhokhar Tsarnaev say that the FBI had numerous contacts with their client's older brother, Tamerlan. This fits in with the mother of the Tsarnaev brothers stating that the FBI contacted Tamerlan after the bombings and before he was listed as a suspect. Not to mention Tamerlan attending CIA-sponsored workshops and the DHS and FBI being briefed to Tamerlan's activities well before the bombing in Boston. But sometimes feds need their informants active on the digital plane. Court documents show that Hector Monsinger, the FBI informant who ratted out hackers from the groups LulzSec and Anonymous, directed hundreds of cyber attacks against the government websites of Iran, Syria, Pakistan, Brazil, and others. And if you're convinced that all of the prior are simply isolated incidents, watch this.
If you ask the leadership of the FBI, most of whose field agents are tireless, dedicated, Constitution-supporting professionals, it will tell you that the FBI, has foiled about 17 plots to kill Americans during the past 10 years. What it will not tell you is that there have been 20 foiled plots, and of them, 3 were interrupted by members of the public. The 17 that were interrupted by the feds were created by the feds.
One of the incidents Judge Napolitano goes on to point out is the underwear bomber. Infowars talked with eyewitness Kurt Haskell about what he saw on the underwear bomber flight.
In January 2010, we had hearings in Congress on this where we had Undersecretary of State Patrick Kennedy come out, and if you watch the video of him, it's pretty telling that he's trying to cover up something and not tell the truth. He's squirming in his chair and seems really uncomfortable answering the questions. And this video is all over the internet if you want to Google it and look at it. But what he said is basically, you know, we knew Abdul-Muttalib was a terrorist. We wanted to stop him from coming in the country and revoke his visa.
There have been numerous cases where our unilateral and uncoordinated revocation of a visa would have disrupted important investigations that were underway by one of our national security partners. They had the individual under investigation, and our revocation action would have disclosed U.S. government's interest in that individual and ended our colleagues' ability, such as the FBI, to pursue the case quietly and to identify terrorist plans and co-conspirators.
But we had a request from an intelligence agency, and he didn't say which one. What he said was, we'll talk about it in closed session. And he said we had a request from an intelligence agency that they're tracking Abdul Muttalib. They want to let him into the U.S. to follow him and to catch bigger fish. And they honored that request in order to let whatever intelligence agency do their business so that they wouldn't knock out one lone soldier in the war on terror, and they could essentially follow him in the U.S. and catch accomplices. So that's what they admitted to. But Patrick Kennedy went on to say there's more to this, we need to talk about it in closed session, and that's kind of where it ended. So obviously I don't believe that for a minute. What I believe through, and what's been shown through the evidence, I believe, is that an intelligence agency gave Abdul Muttalib an intentionally defective bomb and put him on the plane to stage a fake terrorist attack.
And we'll end looking at the 1993 World Trade Center bombing.
Last winter, the FBI was praised for its speed in cracking the case of the World Trade Center bombing and bringing 4 suspects to trial. Now, there is some evidence that the FBI may have known of the plot in advance through an informant and might even have stopped the bombing that killed 6 people.
FBI agents might have been able to prevent last February's deadly explosion at New York's World Trade Center. They discussed secretly substituting harmless powder for the explosives, but they didn't, according to the FBI's own informant, Imad Salem. Unbeknownst to the FBI at the time, Salem recorded many of his conversations with his handlers.
You got paid regularly for good information.
If that's what you think, guys, fine. But I don't think that, because we was start already building the bomb, which is went off in the World Trade Center. It was built by supervision from the Bureau and the DA, and we was all informed about it, and we know that the bomb start to be built. By who? By your confidential informant. What a wonderful, great case.
Did you hear that? The informant claims he built the bomb under the direction of the FBI. You can find more reports at Infowars.com.
To celebrate the birth of our country and give a big thanks to all the info warriors out there, we are now offering free shipping on every item shipped out of the InfoWarsStore.com warehouse. That's free shipping on all t-shirts, books, and DVDs. Free shipping on Moulin Labe and 1776 belt buckles, which are also 25% off while supplies last. Free shipping on all of our InfoWarsLife.com nutraceuticals. If it's in the InfoWarsStore.com warehouse, it's shipping for free, all during the month of July. It's our way of saying thanks to the true heart and soul of this operation, who stand beside us and support us as we wage an info war for liberty and freedom for all. InfoWarsStore.com, free shipping for the month of July.